What's up, everybody? Here for another video of the World of Warcraft Dragonflight Alpha. This is going to be the second Shaman talent video that I'm making here. If you haven't seen the first one, be sure to go check it out. It's for enhancement. The goal with these videos was just to take a look at the new talent tree system and to try to build a talent build that would be good for open world content, world questing, leveling, that kind of stuff. And in the first video for the enhancement Shaman, we covered a lot of the class tree. And I'm not going to be going over the class tree in as much detail again in this video. So if you really haven't seen that one and you want to get a good feel for everything that's available in the class side of the talent tree, be sure to check out that other video, which I will link in the description and also probably throw a card up on the video for it. This music is way too intense, so I think we're gonna just kind of pull this down a little bit. A little too epic there. Okay, so we have switched over to Elemental. We don't have any cool artwork or anything here, so that's kind of unfortunate. And then we're also going to go ahead and make sure that we have a shield equipped here. So we got our one-hander and our shield, so our equipment's good. We don't really care about numbers here, we're mostly just looking at builds. And we got our action bars clear and we're ready to go. So let's hop over to our talent section. First we're going to double check. We should have pretty much the same stuff in this spell book that we did before. The exception here is this time we have lava burst available to us from the outset, whereas before we had chain lightning maybe and something else. Maybe it was just chain lightning, I'm not sure. I don't remember, had to go back and watch it, but we get lava burst by default here on Elemental. So as we go through here, obviously as Elemental we're going to want like our chain lightning. Still gonna want our flame shock, throw our flame tongue weapon on there, just cause. Pull down Ghost Wolf, got our healing surge. We're gonna want our lava burst, lightning bolt, lightning shield, and then in Elemental we have our mastery elemental overload. So our lightning bolt, lava burst, and chain lightning cast have a 35% chance to trigger a second cast on the same target, dealing 85% of normal damage and generating less maelstrom. So we do have a maelstrom resource here that we're going to be using. Okay, so we have a pretty good feel for what's in this tree based off the last one we did. For open world content, I'm pretty much seeing a chunk of this stuff is not mandatory, but definitely useful. So I still think grabbing Astral Shift, Wind Shear, picking up Astral Bulwark, and then also Spirit Wolf is going to be really good for us. I think on the other side with Elemental here, we're definitely going to want to get the Fire and Frost damage. We'll get Ancestral Defense for that increased Leech and Avoidance. And then from here, it kind of just depends. I'm still not super interested in picking up like the Spirit Walker's Grace stuff. I am pretty interested in grabbing Earth Elemental. And I do think we still kind of want to roll over into this side over here. I'm just not sure the best way to get there. I don't know if we just kind of like pop a point into, like Clint's Spirit or something. We have to get over here somehow, I think. Just for the movement speed and like this reincarnation and everything. Maybe it's as simple as just putting 2 points into Focused Insight. Lets us grab Nature's Fury, Onk. We can get the winds. Go ahead and grab Gust of Wind, and I think we're probably gonna stop there. We may grab Surging Shields, maybe. So then over on this side, we want to reduce our damage taken. We want to increase the damage of Lightning Bolt because we're going to be using that quite a lot on Elemental. We got 2 points left, so I think we grab the Healing Stream Totem. That's always just useful anyway, and I think we actually just go back and we put a point in Earth Elemental and pick that up. And then down here, Nature Swiftness is going to be a little bit more valuable to us here. Also, Thunderstorm is pretty good. I still like picking up Lightning Lasso. It's just like a big single target damage dealer. So I think we're going to grab Thunderstorm, Lightning Lasso. Grab Nature Swiftness, and then that leaves us with 3 points. And the 3 points here, we could increase the Lightning Shield and everything, but I don't know that I really want to do that. Let's see, what else do we have options for? The radius of our totems effects. Since we are ranged, we're a lot less limited by that than we are if we're melee. Maybe we want to grab Frost Shock. You know, I feel like I got 3 points here, and I'm not quite sure what I want to do with them at the moment. I didn't notice Nature's Guardian. That actually might be a decent pickup. It's just we have to get, maybe actually like having Earth Grab Totem on a ranged character is a little better. Let's grab that, and let's put a couple points into Nature's Guardian. That's fine. Like, I'm not crazy about the last 3 points we spent here. I'm really confident, I guess, about this little chunk up here, and I really like this little chunk over here as well. I think these provide a lot of open world like viability, damage reduction, interrupts, movement speed increases, just kind of like generic stats and more movement speed, more health. That's all really good. And then this line straight down here I like quite a bit as well. You got leech, avoidance, fire and frost damage, damage taken, reduced, like just nice stuff. So kind of change it up beyond that with testing, I think, to kind of figure out what you might want. We might actually see. Where do we put? I think maybe like the Tranquil Air Totem. It prevents casting. That actually does have a pretty good impact. Like I said, there's wiggle room on probably the last like 8 to 10 points here. But I think this is kind of, we'll just go with that. I think it's good enough. So what all did that give us? It got us a big defensive cooldown. It got us a kind of like Nature's Swiftness, offensive ability. It got us Thunderstorm, and also Wind Shear as CCs. We got Astral Shift for defensives. We got Healing Stream Totem. We got a movement skill with Gust of Wind. We got a big damage dealer with Lightning Lasso. And then we got more CC with the Earth Grab Totem. So like I'm pretty okay with that. We're not overly concerned about this side of the tree. I think that could get you started for sure. We'll have to test and tweak from there. So obviously at this point as an elemental shaman, let's see, we have a couple of ways to generate Maelstrom. So we have our Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, and also Lava Burst. Looks like all of these are generators. None of them cost anything. Lava Burst has an 8-second cooldown, as we expect. We may be able to get into the talent tree and get the way to kind of instantly reset the cooldown on that, which is always fun. And then we have our Flame Shock as well, just for some damage over time ability, but it just not currently generate any sort of Maelstrom. So as of right now, the only thing we're really doing is kind of going up to the target. We're going to cast, our base abilities here. We're going to generate Maelstrom, and we have no way to spend it. So we do have the base of just having the Maelstrom generators and then having our Elemental Overload. So we're going to get into the talent tree and see what's in here. So I'm going to do this the same way, where I'm going to look through the active abilities, then we're going to look through the choices, and then we'll kind of look through the passives and maybe get a feel for like what direction we want to go, what build we like, what things kind of stand out to us as interesting. So we have to take Earthshock, and Earthshock is going to be our Maelstrom spender, so that totally makes sense. So now when we're building up Maelstrom, we can dump it with Earthshock. So it costs 60 Maelstrom and just does a little chunk of damage. And then we have a choice between two different active abilities here. So we have Earthquake, which is going to be a AoE Maelstrom spender. And then we also have Fire Elemental, which is a big DPS cooldown that we can choose. All right, moving on, we've got Ice Fury. So this is going to hurl frigid ice at the target, dealing frost damage and causing your next 4 frost shocks to deal increased damage and generate Maelstrom. That's pretty cool. We did not pick up Frost Shock. We could easily go back and grab Frost Shock. I don't mind picking that up. I'd probably just pull points out of here, put a point in the Frost Shock, put a point down here into like Tranquil Air Totem, or maybe leave a point here and a point here just to have that kind of life save ability there. I'm not entirely sure. It would depend on how tanky, how durable I feel out in the open world. So we do have that options there. We've got Stormkeeper, charge yourself with lightning, causing your next 2 lightning bolts to deal increased damage. Also causes your next 2 lightning bolts or chain lightnings to be instant cast and trigger any elemental overload on every target. Okay, so kind of a another little DPS cooldown. This one's on a 1 minute cooldown. It's a little bit faster, a little more usable in open world content compared to something like Fire Elemental, although Fire Elemental is still not bad. 2.5 minute cooldown. You basically drop it on every big pack or every rare spawn you run into. Next we have Primordial Wave. So we saw this one on the Enhancement Shaman as well. Pretty fun. Basically bounces back and forth, dealing elemental damage and applying Flame Shock to an enemy or healing an ally. And then your next Lava Burst will hit all targets affected by your Flame Shock for 80% of normal damage. I had a lot of fun testing this one out in Shadowlands. It's definitely one of the more fun abilities. So in terms of just like baseline abilities that aren't a choice, we really don't have a whole lot going on, right? We've got AoE Maelstrom, DPS cooldown, DPS cooldown, a way to utilize Frost Shocks if we want to, and then we have Primordial Wave. So I'm not pulled in any particular direction here necessarily. I did like Ice Fury. I liked Primordial Wave. Stormkeeper's a little boring, I guess, just because, you know, it only works when you hit the button, and you can only do that every 1 minute. It's a cool effect when you do, but yeah, so I'm not particularly pulled in any one direction there. So we're going to take a look at our choices next, which are going to be these here with the little arrows, and see what options we have. Maybe these will pull us forward. There's got to be some more active abilities, I would think, but we'll see. So we got 2 passives here. Your successful Purge, Cleanse, Spirit, Healing Stream Totem, Hex, and Wind Shear cast generate 8 Maelstrom during combat. Okay, so we're going to be doing Healing Stream Totem and probably Wind Shear during combat. So that's maybe like, you know, 16 Maelstrom. Our Healing Stream Totem is 30-second cooldown, so every 30 seconds we could generate 8 Maelstrom. And then Wind Shear, I believe, is 12-second cooldown here, so I'm not loving that. Increase the chance for Earthquake to knock down enemies by 50%. I would probably grab that if we were going to go this way, but neither one of those is, like, terribly exciting. We got passives here again, so let's see. Cleanse, Spirit, Shear, Purge, and Totem Cast no longer cancel. Ghost Wolf, we saw that in the enhancement tree. I'm not too crazy about that. Your healing critical strikes heal for 250% healing instead of the usual 200%. That's pretty nice. We're going to be healing ourselves quite a bit, and anytime we can get a crit, That's just going to heal us for even more. So that's solid. Over here, 2 more passives. Primordial Blood. While you have an elemental active, your damage taken is reduced by 5%. That's okay. You know, we've got Fire Elemental right now, and we have Earth Elemental. So if we were to pick up Fire Elemental and come into this, that would give us, you know, 2 elementals that we're working with. I'm not sure if we'll get another one. You know, it would have to be in one of these choices where we got it. And your Healing Surge is 30% more effective on yourself. I really do like this one for open world content. Kind of don't like that it's stuck behind Fire Elemental, but I also don't mind picking up Fire Elemental. Like I said, it's a longer cooldown ability, but it is a pretty powerful ability. And the thing that I like about it is the Fire Elemental does take some attention off you, not as much as the Earth Elemental, but it can do a little bit of tanking for you, which to me makes it a little bit of a better cooldown. All right, moving on down here. We've got Electrified Shocks. So Ice Fury causes your Frost Shocks to damage up to 4 additional enemies, and targets hit take 15% increased damage from your nature spells for 4 seconds. Chain Lightning prefers targets with this effect. So that's going to take our Ice Fury and make it into an AoE. Or casting Frost Shock increases the damage of your next Lava Burst by 20%. So again, kind of incorporating the Frost Shock stuff here. All right, next up, we can pick up Elemental Blast, which will replace Earth Shock. I did like the replacement for Earth Shock here with this. It does cost 90 Maelstrom, so it does take a lot more to actually hit this compared to Earth Shock. And then alternatively, we could pick up a passive here. When you cast Earth Shock, gain Lava Surge and increase the damage of your next Lava Burst by 20%. Okay, so if you wanted to come down this part of the tree and you didn't want to replace your Earth Shock, you would basically be picking this up. All right, next we have Ascendance. Again, I've mentioned this before. I'm not a fan of Ascendance, especially in open world content. It's a 3-minute cooldown, which I think is just a little bit too long. And even though I'm okay with something like Fire Elemental, comparatively, I say that, you know, I prefer that over Ascendance just because you're dropping a longer cooldown for another unit that can kind of absorb some damage for you, whereas Ascendance, you're just kind of saying, hey, here I am, continue to beat the crap out of me. Or we have Deeply Rooted Elements. Casting a Lava Burst has a 7% chance to activate Ascendance for 6 seconds. Now this I do actually like, because you're just kind of passively getting that as you're casting your Lava Bursts. And so that I think is actually okay for open world content, because, you know, hopefully you proc that a little bit more. Also, you don't have to hit a button to do it. It just kind of happens passively. All right, then we have Liquid Magma Totem. So this summons the totem at the target location that erupts, dealing fire damage and applying flame shock to 3 enemies within 8 yards. Continues to hurl liquid magma at a random nearby target every 0.9 seconds for 6 seconds, dealing fire damage to all enemies within 8 yards. So maybe a cool totem to pick up if we're over in this part of the tree. Or Primal Elementalist. Your Earth, Fire, and Storm Elementals are drawn from Primal Elementals, 80% more powerful with additional abilities, and you gain direct control over them. So we've seen that before as well. The thing to me is, like, we don't have an Air Elemental, so where is the Air Elemental at? Did I totally miss it? It may be a passive upgrade that turns one of our elementals into an air elemental. So, oh, there we go, Storm Elemental. So, okay, so this has the wrong icon. This is an active ability, and it should have one of these. So I'm assuming that just was missed. So we'll have to go back through and just double check and see if there's anything else that had the wrong icon. And then I'll probably also put that in as a bug report, I think. So that is where we would get the Storm Elemental. Okay, so down here we have Stormkeeper. Charge yourself with lightning, causing your next 2 lightning bolts to deal 150% more damage, and causes your next 2 lightning bolts or chain lightnings to be instant cast and trigger an elemental overload on every target. I feel like we just read that. We did. It's right here, Stormkeeper. So I'm assuming that is a place. One of these is a placeholder. Good times in alpha, right? Alternatively, your Earthshock and Earthquake cast at a 100% chance to make your target a lightning rod. For 8 seconds, lightning rods take 25% of all damage you deal with lightning bolt and chain lightning. Okay, so let's glance through. We're not going to read these yet. I just want to make sure we didn't miss any additional active abilities here. And I'll put it in a report for those. I'm sure someone else has mentioned this. Got a nice drum going in the background. Okay, so taking a look at this stuff here, I'm not too concerned with this like frost shock synergy here. I don't mind this build at all, but like I'm not like I need it. I did like elemental blast. It's pretty expensive. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure. We're gonna go through. We need to spend 7 points up here. So I personally think that grabbing refreshing waters is just really solid. Additional 30% heal from your healing surge when you're healing yourself. Just really good for open world content if you get into a hairy situation or just in between things. We may end up like tanky enough for like dealing enough damage that we don't need that and we could pull out of it. But I don't feel bad about grabbing it. And then here we have Lava Surge. Your Flame Shock damage over time has a 10% chance to reset the remaining cooldown on Lava Burst and cause your next Lava Burst to be instant. Yeah, so coming down this tree is good anyway because I really like this ability. Getting those Lava Burst resets is just super great. So we've got 4 points to spend. We can come down this side or we can come down here. So if we come down this side, we're getting Earthquake, and then we're getting probably the chance for Earthquake to knock down enemies increased, and then that goes into increase the damage of a Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, and Storm Elemental by 15%. That's solid. We don't know if we're picking up Storm Elemental yet, but 15% damage on Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning is just a solid little point to put in there. Alternatively, we can come down here. So our damaging critical strikes deal increased damage, which is nice. We've got our choice here. Our healing critical strikes crit harder, and then casting Lava Burst increases the damage of your next nature, physical, or frost spell by 15%. So we are going to be, kind of opening with Lava Burst a lot of the time, or maybe Lightning Bolt, Lava Burst, something along those lines. So that's going to boost, like, basically any spell we cast by 15%. So I think we're okay with going either path. I kind of like this middle path better, but I also feel like, having an AoE Maelstrom spender is pretty important for us. So we may want to pick up Earthquake. I think we need to look like kind of at the next tier, at like what direction we want to head with this. So at the moment, we're going to be able to go to everything except we have to go down this path if we want this combo here and this side. Basically, if we kind of want this side here, we have to go down the Earthquake track. So let's take a look at that real quick. Lightning Bolt generates more Maelstrom. We've got Stormkeeper, which I'm not sure if that's supposed to be here or here. Casting Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning reduces the cooldown of your nature spells by 1 second. Okay. After casting Earthshock, your next Earthquake deals additional damage. So some back and forth between single target and multi-target. That's looking like okay. I like the additional Maelstrom generation, and I like the cooldown reduction as well. That's pretty nice, but not like necessary. Still doesn't mean we don't come down this row, because we can kind of come over into this. I don't really want to come over into the frost shock stuff right now, but we could come down here and then go over this way and kind of take over like this side of the tree. So that's an option. So the question is this mandatory? Increase your maximum maelstrom by 50. I do like that. Still don't know if that's enough to decide. Alright, so if we come down this tree, we can go this way. Like I said, we can come to the middle, reduce the maelstrom cost of earth shock and earthquake. That's always really nice. We got our choice here of picking up elemental blast, or our little passive here. Dealing direct fire, frost, and nature damage within 10 seconds will increase all damage dealt by 7% for 10 seconds. So that's if we mix it up. So we're basically doing like a lava burst, frost shock into a lightning bolt to increase all of our damage dealt by 7% for 10 seconds. That's probably going to happen naturally, but I really don't like trying to keep that in mind when I'm out doing content. It's not like super difficult, but it is just like another thing if you just want to zone out and randomly quest. Coming down the middle, Earth Shock and Earthquake have a 25% chance to refund all Maelstrom spent. Like that a lot. Casting Lava Burst has a 5% chance to cause your next 2 Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning cast to trigger Elemental Overload and additional time. I'm really liking this like middle one compared to the left side so far. And then over here, Lava Burst has an additional charge. Yeah, we absolutely want that. Increase the damage of Flame Shock, Lava Burst, Lava Beam, and Fire Elemental by 10%. Flame Shock's damage over time. Yeah, okay, we're staying away from this left side. I think we're coming down the middle for sure. We're going to grab Critical, and we're going to grab that. We've got 1 point left, so we're going to grab Earthquake. So now we have our AoE spender. We're just not going to like invest into it too heavily. And then we've got a variety of things here. So Lava Burst has an additional charge. We want that for sure. Let's see. Increased damage. Yes, potentially. That's the only way to get improved Flame Tongue weapon, which increases your fire spell damage by 5% for an hour just from having Flame Tongue weapon. That's pretty cool. Let's see what else we have here. So yeah, Flame Shock's damage over time effect now occurs 15% more quickly. That is really good for open world content. Flame Shock's damage over time is over 18 seconds, so that is going to make it take less time, and we really don't need 18 seconds per target on Flame Shock. Reduce the cooldown of Flame Shock by 1.5 seconds. I don't know if that's necessary, because I don't know if we're going to like spam Flame Shock that hard. It leads into a couple things. It is the only way to... Nope, we have plenty of ways to pick up everything else, so I think we'll hold off on that. I like the additional overload, which means we need to pick up this. Okay, 10% chance. So we have to spend 7 more points. So I think we're going to go the additional Maelstrom. We'll go for the increased Flame Shock, Lava Burst, Lava Beam, Fire Elemental. Go improve Flame Tongue weapon to increase our fire damage. So we are kind of going a little fire heavy here. Then we have Storm Elemental. Each time you cast Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning, the cast time of Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning is reduced. Seems pretty cool, but I don't know if I want to go like full into another big cooldown here. We do have 4 points, so I think maybe we actually just come back up. We're going to want to pick something over here, I'm assuming. Let's see where we want to go on this bottom row, because we haven't really looked at it too much yet. I feel pretty good about this so far. So let's see what we have. We looked at these already. Over here we have Flame Shock increases... Flame Shock damage increases the damage of your next Earth Shock, Elemental Blast, or Earthquake by 0.5%, stacking up to 20 times. So as we go in and we hit Flame Shock, and as that's ticking away faster now because of this, we're going to increase the damage of our next Maelstrom Spender. Seems pretty good. Flame Shock has a 100% chance to generate 1 Maelstrom from Flame Shock damage. Okay, so yeah, like a lot of like just Flame Shock stuff going on here. I kind of like it. Flame Shock damage over time. Critical strikes reduce the cooldown of Fire Elemental, and Flame Shock has a 50% increased chance to critically strike. So that's going to make our Fire Elemental cooldown a lot quicker. Okay, I'm liking what's going on. Like maybe like here. I like that too. This is all just like your Flame Shock ticks make everything great. So I do kind of like that. And then here in the middle, so we have our, Lava Burst Ascendance proc there we could pick up. We have Primordial Wave with a couple of upgrades. 15% chance to not incur its cooldown, which is 45 seconds. And then each additional Lava Burst generated by Primordial Wave increases your haste. It's pretty good, but I'm kind of liking this whole like Flame Shock line a little bit more right now. Increases damage dealt by elemental overloads, and then Earth Shock and Earthquake can trigger your mastery at 50% effectiveness. Overloaded Earthquakes do not knock enemies down. And then here, while Ascendance is active, you gain additional haste, and then casting Earth Shock or Earthquake while Ascendance is active extends the duration by 3 seconds. So we can either, do this synergy through the actual casting of Ascendance, or we can get it through the passive. I'm kind of wanting to check out this whole like Flame Shock route here, so I think we're going to put 2 points in here. So Flame Shock cooldown is reduced by 3 seconds. That's pretty significant. And then, man, so I'm going to want to put points in over here. We've got 7 points. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3. And then we either have to, I think we put a point in here just to get it, be able to put points in here. And then after that, I mean, we're really just picking up. It feels bad. It feels bad because we either have to grab. I think we'll go with the increased chance for Earthquake to knock enemies down, just as some additional CC here. Then we have 5 points left, and I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh man. I like the Ascendance passive proc. So let's see. So we can generate 2 Maelstrom with Flame Shock. Then we get the stack on the Earth Shocks. And then the cooldown reduction and increased critical strike chance. Oh, man. Well, you're going to get more points as you level up, right? So then I would probably grab, that passive and be all good. So let's try this, right? So we're going to scooch that over so we can see all of our new abilities here. Not a whole lot. We got Storm Elemental. Okay, so that replaced. Did it replace? I think it replaced our Fire Elemental. All right. Let's double check and see. It did. So how does that compare to our Fire Elemental though? Range destruction and your Flame Shock deals damage 25% faster. Oh man. So that means if I want to take that out, I need to spend 1 point. And then, oh, that feels so bad. Oh, that feels bad. Oh, this does apply flame shock, so I probably do like that better. Oh, okay. Well, additional points. I think I like the fact that I want to put more points into stuff here. So right now, basically, we're just trying to crit a lot, right? We're going to cast our fire elemental, let it go to town. We're going to throw flame shock on our target, and then we're going to start doing our regular rotation of lava burst. So one charge goes on cooldown. We'll cast that again whenever cast lava burst again whenever the charge comes back up. So we kind of keep one charge on cooldown all the time, or if we get the proc, and we'll basically be spamming lightning bolt. And so that's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. But as we do that, like, our critical strikes are going to deal more damage. We have increased chance for flame shock damage to critically strike. The damage is going to happen faster because of this, and also faster because of the fire elemental. We've got increased damage. So, I mean, let's just kind of see what this flame shock does. I think we actually want to go ahead and hit with flame shock and then pop our elemental. Just kind of get the full acceleration. See how fast that goes. Look at that, 323. Feels pretty good. I'm not going to say I got the rotation down or anything. I haven't been really paying attention to the cooldown here. Of our fire elemental. I am seeing the flame strike ticks. I really bet this build right here would just like roast a single target in open world content. You were generating Maelstrom like relatively quickly. I mean, we're getting through like a full rotation of stuff here. Like, just that combo right there is probably pretty chunky. And let's see. Let's see how crazy this gets when we drop this totem on 3 targets. Drop that. So now flame shock is being applied like crazy. Oh my goodness. That totem. Oh man. I like it. I mean, I liked enhancement, and so far I'm liking the elemental as well. So yeah, this is a look. Is this the perfect build? No, it's the first time I'm looking at the elemental points over here. I mean, I definitely would probably, now that I've seen the whole tree, I would just reset and go back through and work through some stuff here. Make a couple changes. I think like seeing everything in detail definitely will, you know, kind of change what you want to do. But I mean, for the most part, you know, I'm seeing there's different threads you can take, right? And I don't think, you know, any of them are like terrible looking. And I like the fact that you can kind of go with like preference. Like I didn't want even more buttons to hit. And I think being able to go this like flame shock route is actually pretty cool. So yeah, I think I would just hop in and test this out. In my last video, I was looking for a place to kind of test the builds in open world content. And I wasn't able to figure out how to get to the new zones. I'm looking into that, but I kind of just decided that what I would do is once I have talent builds for all 3 specializations, or 4 or 2, or, you know, however many there are based on the class, I would just go out and do a open world demo with like all 3 builds. So that's what we're going to end up doing here. All right, you guys, let me know what you think of the video. You know, don't forget to like the video, drop some comments, share the video. For sure, let me know if you are enjoying this kind of content and you want to see more, because that's really what I need to know to figure out whether or not it's worth continuing to make these videos, or whether I just jump in and look at this all myself and kind of figure it out and, you know, don't record and share it. But for now, I am going to record and share it. And so hopefully your enthusiasm and support will encourage me to keep, you know, turning this stuff into videos. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for this video. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next one.